Good afternoon and warm welcome to this special interview. Today, our guest is Mr. Sanjay Sahay. He is ex-IPS and former Additional Director General of Police, Karnataka. During his years of service, he took several initiatives for deploying new technologies in policing. He has played a significant role in the development of ERP software, police IT systems, and broadband networking, and data center for the Karnataka State Police. He is based in Bangalore and he is the founder of TechCon Pro, a bespoke technology company. So, topic of today's discussion is, does India need an AI Act? So, Mr. Sahay, my first question would be, the government has passed the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. Does this act do enough to regulate AI technologies in the country?
So broadly, if we get into the legislative part of it, now if we have an Indian Penal Code, if somebody says we don't need a criminal procedure code or an evidence act, or parallel to that, there are varieties of other criminal laws. So they need to exist depending on what is the nature of area which they attend to and in the manner they attend to. And there's other reality which is slowly been creeping in. And that reality is that the nature of legislation which has been happening in variety of areas all throughout since times immemorial, and the nature of legislation required for artificial intelligence would be radically different. As far as the Data Protection Act is concerned, it deals only with personal data, your and my data, how it should be regulated, how it is to be used, and the whole data ecosystem. Primarily, there might be some very, very indirect connection between data and AI, or AI being the convergence of literally any and every piece of data in this world. But the nature of AI and the nature of legislation required by AI would be radically different, and the Data Protection Act, which has recently been passed, will not be of any consequential value in regulating AI, directing AI, or even having an idea of the trajectory in which AI is going.
So, AI is all about data. The way it functions, I mean, it analyzes the data, it uses technology to turn it into something that can be useful or not useful. So, what should the government do to, I mean, monitor this thing and regulate it so that it's not used for harmful purposes? If this act is not enough, then what should the government do?
The wide gap between data and artificial intelligence is the nature of the chasm or an open crevice, which the world should understand, and more so the governments and regulators need to understand. At the maximum, what governments have been able to understand as it stands now is something called big data analytics. But from big data analytics to machine learning and artificial intelligence is a totally different world. The replication of physical world is not the digital world. Digital world is an independent world on its own. And the mechanisms on which digital world works is radically different from the physical world and the utilities and various capabilities which it provides. In the very same manner, a normal data regulated world and the AI regulated world are two radically different things. For the first time in human history, we have a technology where research is going on at the foundational level. So we are at the first couple of bricks of the foundation of artificial intelligence. And fortunately or unfortunately, while the foundation is being laid, this technology is impacting nearly every aspect of our existence. So the nature of regulation or nature of law which needs to come, which has to be primarily prescriptive in nature, and a very neat gold standard, though it might not be 100% satisfactory, but that initial step, pioneering step, has been taken by the European Union by what is known as the AI Act, which was passed as recently as the beginning of this particular month, somewhere around the 6th or 8th of December. But the work on AI Act started in the year 2018, and the first draft came in 2021. Was the first draft on the 30th of November last year, 2022, Chat AI was born. For most of the people, it was born. But the work has been going on GPT since 2016. So generative artificial intelligence is a known thing and has been happening and slowly progressing. It just happened that conversational AI, even Chat GPT-3 was in existence for around 2 years, even before the Chat GPT came. GPT-3 was in existence. So this conversational form with that particular technology came to, that became transformation. So if any government which intends to regulate AI, necessarily will we have to go in the method European Union is trying to do, by where you decide upon the areas which are fraught with risks. So high risk areas, medium risk areas, low risk areas, and accordingly you make your regulation.
Okay.
How much of AI understanding we have is very difficult to say. And to regulate or legislate in areas where we are not much aware has its own loopholes, and it also throws challenges, which is been very visible in our recent experience with Data Protection Act. It started with right to privacy in the Puttaswamy case, and with the right to privacy, we came with a commission by a judge, I think Justice Balakrishna Commission. Based the findings were given, 2019, the bill was also introduced, and all of us know what transpired, and today, the shape in which Data Protection Act has come into existence, and the shape in which Justice Balakrishna gave his report, I think there is too much of a divergence between the two. So it may be that it might be a beginning point. So it's perfectly fine. But the beginning point of AI needs to start. AI, for your knowledge, started in the year 1956. So it is not as alien to us as it is made out to be. And it is not as impact making at a pace which it is made out to be.
So, what are the key features of the AI Act that European Union has passed? Why do you think that it is suitable for regulating this new?
European Union has a vast track record of tech legislation. So the European Union Parliament and whatever resources which support have this capability of creating or legislating in areas which are very new in the tech space. In 2016, way back in 2016, they had the legislation which is known as General Data Protection Regulation. That is the gold standard of data protection. And they gave 2 years for that particular act to be implemented. I think in the current AI Act also, there is a period of around 15 months or so when it will actually get implemented. Now, one thing which they're sure of, that their 2021 draft bill was of no consequence only because ChatGPT came into existence and multi-modal large language models became the order of the day. And the capability of AI to transform our existence between 2021 and 30th of November 2022, I think it radically changed. And it became a game changer to the minutest level, to the last person. As today, we are using Copilot, we are using variety of large language models, which are already in place. So what they have done is they have decided that they will get into high-risk areas. Might be biometric, national security. They have decided on variety of areas. So the high-risk areas, there will be more of regulation. And accordingly, you come back on a descending scale and the regulation will go down. The other thing which they propose is for the government, for national security and variety of other areas which they feel is important for the existence of nation states. So there they are as good as given a blanket ban sort of. And the third area which they are really bothered about is the research and innovation. The research and innovation area, that also they have nearly left it untouched. Now the challenge is from 2018 till today, what has been the performance of GDPR? So that is most important. You can keep legislating, but if you don't get the impact of that particular legislation, then it becomes a big question mark. And that is even more dangerous, that you have the law and still the sector goes unregulated. Correct. So that is the imbroglio or catch-22 situation where we should not get caught. So from the method of understanding the AI world, I think the AI Act is a reasonably good beginning. There cannot be a comprehensive act on AI because it is a very fast evolving technology. Now, 2021, you did not have a large language model of the nature we have today, which means impact making. The technology was there. Now, in the very same manner, now when you are dealing with, say, Chat GPT, so it's primarily a large language model, might be with some amount of image and all that involved. But when Gemini of Google comes into play, then it is literally a multi-modal large language model. So that is the understanding of the technology. If you get into the pure legislation part of it, have we reached the stage where our legislations, tech legislations will not make sense in the manner we have been legislating on crime or civil or commerce and variety of other areas? So somewhere we have to be very specific about the technology, the version of the technology, and our laws also should be dynamic and real time to an extent that might be in the field of AI and data protection and variety of other areas. You would be needing an amendment, might be every 12 months or every 24 months. The total compute capability which is available to us today increases by double in every 18 to 24 months. So when the compute increases, the generation of whatever results come based on that particular compute also comes out manifold, which impacts us. So from my side, it is the right time for the legislators, for the people who are making laws, people who are thinking about it, who have been mandated to decide on the trajectory of AI in this country, to at least put their heart and mind and understand as to where we are and what all we want to control in which manner, and employ the best of the experts possible in this country and beyond. Because it cannot be a pure one department game or things of that nature, to best of my understanding.
We have been talking about e-governance for more than 30 years now. And now this AI is there. So how does it transform? It is going to become AI governance, sort of, even much more digitized to a much higher level. So what kind of impact do you see on the existing schemes of the government where a lot of digitization has already happened? How are they going to be impacted? Are there going to be cybersecurity issues, or either they, or maybe more efficiency, or sometimes so elitism might creep in? So people who have connect with the AI technology, they might take more advantage of the system, and people who
Well,
are not left out, digitally not included, they might
we
not.
will come to the digital divide later, and which you can very safely call as the AI divide now. But fructification of data has not happened. By fructification of data, I mean that we don't have an open data policy wherein large chunks of government data, which need not be controlled, should have come in the open space. Now, in the AI race, China is galloping primarily on government data. And if
On
we
government.
compare on government data, because the actual real data of human development, commerce, business, literally any and everything lies with the government. You have a national stock exchange, you have a IRCTC, you have a national database on crime and criminals, you have an income tax database, you have a UID, you have UPI, you name it, you have it. Correct. Now, if these databases talk to each other, and that data is available for machine learning and all those prospective stuff, I think the nature of change which it will bring about, it will be humongous. We have reached a stage where interoperability, integration of data, machine learning and artificial intelligence, all in the same sequence and some level of blockchain, will be able to provide us both the propelling components of what the government and the governance requires, and also the cyber security requirements, which will be provided by blockchain technology. E-governance, from even in my days in the government, I have always called it as a misnomer. There is nothing called e-governance. There is nothing called AI governance. E-governance is something like if your money is stolen through a cyber crime and your money is physically stolen, I don't find any difference between the two because you have lost your money. So governance remains governance. The tool used for governance might change. And if you differentiate between governance and e-governance and have separate departments of e-governance, which primarily means that it is not making an impact which it should. You are not writing UPI transactions, UPI commerce, UPI trade. We don't write that, right? So same way this e-governance and then graduating to AI governance, it is a core technology. We call it as a general purpose technology, which was wheel at some point in time, fire at some point in time, steam at some point in time, electricity, electronics, digital, whatever you call it. So these are general purpose technologies. They are meant to impact every single aspect of our existence. So the e-governance today itself is not at the e-governance level. And graduating it to AI, it will happen only if we get into a totally different sort of a digital journey. Now, a very simple example. If you get into Bing, your Copilot and all that, and I give a huge amount of lectures. Now, the time which I take to collate my data, even to copy paste my data, or to understand in different formats of a diagram, image, variety of things. Now I'm taking 10% of time, what I used to take earlier. To the extent that the other day, I think I was delivering in one of the defense colleges in the country. And there, one specific aspect of the topic was exploiting AI ML for some sort of purpose, which I'll not be able to tell you, some sort of. And if I get into an image, I get into some experimental project, you start getting the details and manner is unimaginable. Even a snipping tool, which was so difficult earlier, the nature you can cut, copy, paste into, I think it has made life much more simpler. And I'm giving you a very simple example, but a very illustrative example, which I've been using on a day-to-day.
Yes.
Correct. Now say you take, for example, now you have your CBSE. I'll give you a very, very non-controversial example. Correct. There's a huge quantum of data on exams. If that data is put into use, I think we will be able to revolutionize our examination system. Other part, somebody was telling me, oh, handwriting and all that. I said, why do you need a handwriting in the first place? You start with a keyboard, end with a keyboard. That is the nature of things which we are living in, right? So for 18 years, 20 years, you perfect your handwriting and you are not taught typing, which will live with you for rest of your life. And that is the only way you will be able to communicate or you will communicate. So the nature of data available in different organizations or departments or ministries or purposes or agencies. Now that has to be thought upon as to which would be the first testing ground of artificial. Once you decide on the first testing ground, I'll give you another example. I was delivering a lecture a long time back for a signaling company, Austrian signaling company, railway signaling company. And at that time, and I repeat it again today, that if all railway accidents in the country, of which data is available, was put in a machine learning AI format, possibly we will be able to give you an audit, which all audits combined would not have given, or might not have given even 1 or 2%. So in AI, what happens? We don't get into the causation part of it. We get into the correlation. We get into the pattern. I keep on repeating that every lecture, which I deliver the night before, I feel I'll not be able to deliver. Because I pick up large number of new topics, unconnected to my specialization, unconnected to literally anything and everything. The only thing which propels me that I've given 1500 lectures and not failed. So that is a pattern which I have. On that pattern, I feel that 1501st lecture also, I will deliver with nearly the same, whatever, delivery mechanism, quality, and things of that. So AI ready. First, you have to be AI ready. When I was the government, somebody gave me I2, I think was the software of IBM for crime data analysis and all. So I said, it's fine, we'll buy. And it was a very costly software, and they had tried it in a couple of crimes in Karnataka. I called the VP of IBM and I told him, boss, my database is not ready. So let's discuss how do I elevate my database that it becomes the right input for I2. That did not happen then, that did not happen ever. So anybody who wants to propel the present level of governance, leave aside to AI governance, even to what you call and understand as e-governance, I think we'll need to understand the domain very well. With the domain, he needs to understand the systems thinking which goes behind the domain today, and needs to understand technology, and has to be a master practitioner at the subset of domain, technology, practice, and delivery. So that is where we stand. Otherwise, there will be tools which will come in this country, and those tools will transform. We will neither be able to control, and nor will we be able to get revenue out of it, and we will miss out on the AI revolution as we did in Industrial Revolution 1, 2, and 3. So the fourth revolution is the cyber physical, which we call Industry 4.0, and moving on to a complete from cyber physical to complete the artificial intelligence.
You said something about AI divide. I think that's a good term. Digital divide has become maybe too light in face of AI technologies. And there is real danger that people who have connect with this technology, they will take advantage. They will, grow further, and the rest of the society gets left behind. So, what can be done to improve the situation?
If the society and governance, without getting into details of it, have decided to be left behind, nobody can do anything.
Certain countries might do better than...
because they have not decided to be left behind. But you have decided to be left behind, only doing lip service, then you will be left behind. There's absolutely no way out. Now, the general understanding that this is a breakthrough technology and we have to pick up from this particular point, that is not true. Because you have not been on the e-governance mode or digital mode or whatever mode you call it. So now you are finding it difficult to move on to the next stage. The digital divide is as conspicuous in this country as it can be. Only the other day I was talking to a professor, and she said, "Ki boss, I do on pencil and paper and all sorts of things, and things are running fine for me." Because that is what the university requires. So we are missing out the basic tools which we should pick up at any particular point in time. And we have large number of training institutions. What are we doing with them? Have we brought them to a complete digital mode? Have we brought them to an AI mode? What are the support systems? We have, I think, 23 IITs. We have large number of IIMs. We have large number of institutions who supposedly professionally have the capabilities. Why can't their might be put in elevating governance? Even otherwise, most of them are moving out of this country after being taught and trained on taxpayers' money. Correct. So until and unless there is a very, very deliberate attempt to make AI the standard technology of governance and all the resources to be put in that direction, only then it is going to come. It is not an easy technology. Let's be very clear. It is not a plug and play technology. It is not a technology which can be understood with ease. And if these are whatever criteria I'm telling you or features I'm telling you, that is the case, that is really the case, then bringing it to a product, bringing it to use case and making it as a practice across board, you can well imagine how difficult would it be.
One last question. How do you expect policing to change? There's a lot of talk about how it can be used in defense, in policing. The Pradhan Mantri ji also talked about it several times, in fact. Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji has talked about it. So how does this policing get impacted by AI?
I will ask you a counter.
I think it's already happening.
I will ask you a counter question for a change. At the last mile delivery, how much of policing has changed since the onset of the digital age?
I think in some changes have been there, some good changes have been there. For instance, the passport verification, traffic license.
That is not policing.
Yes,
that is creation of a database. And I'm talking about crime, law and order, intelligence, how it is impacting the common man. I'm talking about policing, which is done by the state police and UT police. I'm not talking about anything else. And how the technology is impacting them. So if there is a standard technology operating across the country, whether it has brought policing, provided ease to policing, brought down the drudgery out of the policing, It is for people inside and for people outside. Whether that technology has impacted policing to a level where you say it has made a difference. And you yourself are talking about passport, right? So the turnaround time for passport verification in this country was anything between 25 days to 45, 50 days. Now it is brought down to 2 days or 3 days, or it might be even less. It can even be made instantaneous. Correct. But does that same thing happen for registration of an FIR? Does that same thing happen in case of a law and order situation? See, empirical and objective policing at the ground level at a mass scale. That is what we are desirous of. We are not desirous of handling one crisis situation, one investigation, and a couple of databases we throw on their own. So you cannot say that today we will live without a database. You don't have a choice. You have to live with a database. Simple. So there somebody has done something very outstanding. I don't think that is the case. If you are left behind, then you will be treated differently. If you are not left behind, it is normal. If you do UPI transaction today, you are normal. If you do only cash transaction, you are abnormal. But that was not the case 5 years back. So in the very same manner, until and unless policing at the ground level that is impacted, or at a greater and specialized level, if it is shown to me that based on these tools, you are having more objective, more empirical policing, then it is acceptable. Today also, most of the laws, they are used generic in nature. Why it is used generic in nature? Because we don't have the capability to pinpoint one particular individual out of 50 lakh people and take action against him. So what do? So everybody should comply. If there are 5 criminals in one particular area and there are 10,000 people in that trade, all that 10,000 people will comply. So the capability to transform policing will happen again on the subset of policing and technology. Now you will also have to tell me as to how many police officials you have found who are conversant with technology, who can tell you on this version, we are doing on that version. We have done the same thing with all our forensic tools. We have done with weapons. We have done with our battle methodologies. We have done with literally anything and everything. Then why are we lacking in the when it comes to technology? You ask a police officer what weapon is, he will tell you the weapon. He will tell the bore of the weapon. He will tell you literally anything and everything. But if you ask him that what is the model or what is the camera he is using for video surveillance, I don't know how many people will be able to tell you. So technology has to become your second skin. Correct. If technology does not become your second skin, things are not going to happen. It's very, very simple. That is your basic tool. And that is as true to policing, governance, as to commerce, as to journalism, as to everything else. I think one leak of WikiLeaks in 2010 or 2011 was more than complete the whole output of the journalistic world, electronic, print, and otherwise, by one single leak. And there was no journalist in that. Correct. So these are path-breaking technologies. Now there is other issue which is coming up of synthetic data. By 2030, the total quantum of data which will be used for machine learning and AI, I think large part will come out of synthetic data. If today we don't understand synthetic data, then when 2030, there will be 4 companies manufacturing synthetic data and selling it all across the globe, and to Indian companies and Indian people. What will you do then? Digital technology has had a jungle growth. Governments have not been able to handle. They are not able to develop that capability to handle. Might be they are not interested in handling, and the world over. And they have grown to a level where it is becoming next to impossible to control. They have the biggest asset which the world has. That is data. Through that data, they have gained unassailable power and influence. They have reached unassailable. So some fellow is handling 1 billion people, some fellow is doing this. So variety of things they are doing. And I think the other day I was telling top 9 IT companies or IT behemoths, if you can call them. I think they totally come to nearly $9 trillion. With $9 trillion, they will become the 3rd largest economy in the world, as on date. So this is the strength of technology. You have to decide where you have to go in which manner. And governance, our education, literally anything and everything, if we put our heart and mind, can be transformed to a level where you will not be able to recognize in sharp 3 years' time. Whether you are ready to do or you are not ready to do is the question mark. All this will need huge amount of capital investment.
Perhaps there might come a time that 2024 might be labeled as the year of the AI. We
See,
don't know.
in 2015 or 2014,
Hmm.
cybersecurity became the biggest national security challenge of the US and by extension of the whole world. And from that year till today, it remains the #1 national security challenge. So whether it is labeled, not labeled, whatever it might be, we have entered the AI age. And even with best of the efforts of all governments combined, you cannot retrace.
Yes, it cannot be ended.
You cannot stop WhatsApp University. How will you retrace AI?
Yes.
First time in history of corporate governance or history of corporates, Sam Altman was supposed to be brought back. And not because of strength of anybody else. It is only the strength of those employees which had ultimate faith in this guy. Correct. $2 billion is not a huge amount of money. It is just around 16,000 crores. In 16,000 crores, he's giving a transformative technology. At least half of the nations in this world have 16,000 crores and they are spending in variety of things. Though technology needs focus, it needs grit, it needs perseverance, it needs expertise. When did we start with AI? From our point of view, which you will also remember, is from Deep Blue. That is 1997, 1998, when the world champion was beaten. Okay. From Deep Blue, we got to Watson. From Watson, we got DeepMind. From DeepMind, OpenAI, and variety of other things. Now, even if we do leave the 1956 history of AI, from 1996, 1997, we know. Now, the different phases of AI and the different technologies used for AI, you ask anybody in this country, very rarely anybody will be able to tell you. One capability of AI for your understanding, and then you will understand the whole universe of AI, is there is a tool or a AI agent by name AlphaZero. So AlphaZero, it is a game playing tool of Google DeepMind. It was trained, the other version I'm not getting into. The final version was trained only on synthetic data, which means artificially created data. Having been trained on synthetic data, that tool could learn complete chess history of the world in 4 hours. In 4 hours. And has been able to come up with moves which no human being has made in human history. In my own small company, I've picked up somebody who knows all these things. I said, my website, all documents which I've created in the last 2-3 years, all my associates, their website, their documents, they're literally everything, bring it to me on a large language model. And today, if I require in one particular project, which camera I use, and tuck, I get the camera. Or most used cameras, they will give me. So literally in any format, out of that 100, 200, 500 GB of documentation of me, my associates, and next we will connect it to the outside world. So 90% of the time what you are doing precisely this in any job which you do. But for a high-end scientific research, literally in anything and everything what you are doing in this world is basically trying your level best to structure data to your use and give it to whosoever, whether he is your editor or whosoever, or it is your board, or that is primarily which you do day in and day. So this is where we are, and that can be done much more proficiently by this particular tool. The other point which I need to add, as we have relied on Google search and cut, copy, paste, and we have lost our natural intelligence, in the very same manner, if you are not able to understand the output of an AI tool as a domain expert, as an expert who understands that particular field, and you just keep copying, where we will end up, we don't know. So if we are not able to regulate AI or use it in the way which is ideal or which is prescribed, the chance is that we will become an AI slave. So that is my final thought.
It's very nice talking to you, sir.
Thank you.
And let's see what 2024 brings by December next year. I think technology, many other companies will also come up with their AI tools. And the competition will go increase, and we don't know where the world will be.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the leading management thinkers, Clayton Christensen, so he describes luck as when preparation meets opportunity. That is luck. I doubt that we are at that particular crossroad in this country as of now. I hope and pray that we reach this crossroad as early as possible, and we also become a part of the AI revolution and enjoy the fruits of an AI world. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sahay.
Thank you.